Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session, AI powered ethical hacking, revolutionizing cybersecurity defense. I am Rinal Vikiria, and I'll be your host for the day. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few house rules. For our attendees, the session will be in listen only mode and will last for an hour, out of which the last 15 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A. Now, about a speaker, Don Warden. Don Warden is a cybersecurity leader with over 30 years of experience in defending and securing complex environments across multiple industries. His extensive background spans digital forensics, cyber threat intelligence, and incident response, wherein he has handled high stakes cases involving ransomware, insider threats, and cyber extortion. A trusted advisor on cybersecurity strategies, Don has guided organizations through threat mitigation and recovery while ensuring compliance with frameworks like the Cybersecurity Maturity Model certification, holding advanced certifications including Certified Ethical Hacker CEH and Certified Cybersecurity Analyst CCSA, along with a Master's in Cybersecurity and Information Assurance. Don brings a seasoned perspective to AI-powered cybersecurity and ethical hacking innovations. So without any further delay, I would now hand over the session to you, Don.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning. We have a lot of information to cover, so I'll go ahead and get right into it. So our agenda for today, we're going to go into an introduction into ethical hacking and how AI integrates into this domain. We're going to talk about key areas where AI is making an impact to ethical hacking workflows. We're going to give a couple of real-world examples of AI-powered cybersecurity in action. I'm going to talk about some challenges that come with using AI in ethical hacking. And then we'll do a look into the future of AI in cybersecurity and some actionable steps that you can take to integrate these technologies into your workflows. And then, as was noted, we'll open everything up for questions. So I think it's important for everyone to understand exactly what is ethical hacking. I think there's a lot of misinformation about what ethical hacking is, so I'll go ahead and get into that. It really plays a critical role in modern cybersecurity, and it's really designed to identify and address vulnerabilities before malicious actors exploit them. So let's talk about this. The definition of and the goals of ethical hacking is the authorized process, and keyword is authorized, of testing a system, application, or network to identify security weaknesses. So the goal of this is to strengthen security by doing real-world simulation attacks in a controlled and legal manner. So there are a couple of different types of testing that we perform. We do black box testing, which simulates an external attacker with no prior knowledge of the system. Most people would think of that as traditional pen testing. We do white box testing, which is conducted with the full knowledge of all of the internal architecture. We do gray box testing, which is a hybrid approach with some knowledge of the internal system. And like I said, a penetration tester might try to bypass a web application authentication system to see if unauthorized access is possible. So the roles of ethical hackers in security, ethical hackers, or as some people call us, penetration testers, are cybersecurity professionals, and we're trained to think like attackers while working to benefit our clients, the organization that we are assisting. So we do vulnerability assessments, penetration tests. We provide detailed reporting with recommendations for remediation of any issues that we find. We help organizations comply with regulations like GDPR, PCI, DSS, and HIPAA. So we uncover the weaknesses that internal teams might overlook, and we provide them with a fresh perspective on security. So everything is founded on what we call a CIA triad. So the C stands for confidentiality. An example of that would be preventing unauthorized access to customer data. Integrity, which ensures the accuracy and trustworthiness of data. So an example of that would be protecting the files from being altered by malware or an unauthorized user. Availability is ensuring that systems and data are accessible when they are needed. So an example of that would be mitigating a denial of service or DOS attack to keep critical servers online. So think of the CIA triad as a triangle. Each side is equal in their importance. Why is ethical hacking essential today? The reason is that we have an increasing threat landscape. The number of cyber attacks continue to grow, and attackers are getting more sophisticated every single day. We can do some proactive defense, and ethical hacking is used as a proactive measure that helps organizations stay ahead of these threats. We also do it for compliance and reputation. Many industries require regular security testing to meet their compliance standards, and a robust ethical hacking program demonstrates that commitment to security, which can enhance the trust with their customers and their partners. So in closing, ethical hacking is about building a secure foundation for the organizations by uncovering the vulnerabilities and strengthening their defenses. The CIA triad guides this process and ensures a balanced approach to security. As we move forward, we'll see how AI enhances this critical field. So AI is revolutionary in the fact that we're finding ways that were almost imaginable to use technology a decade ago. So let's look at a couple of ways that AI integrates into these workflows and what makes it a game changer. So what is AI-powered ethical hacking? AI at its core, ethical hacking involves identifying vulnerabilities before malicious actors can exploit them. AI amplifies the processes by automating these repetitive tasks. It improves accuracy, and it provides predictive insights that go beyond human capabilities. Some of the key benefits of using AI in ethical hacking are speed and scalability. AI can process large volumes of data and identify vulnerabilities much, much faster than human. For instance, AI tools like OpenVAS or Burp Suite with the AI plugin can scan and analyze thousands of lines of code or entire systems in minutes. It allows us to do the automation of repetitive tasks like scanning for known vulnerabilities, monitoring logs for anomalies, or running predefined tasks are now automated. This frees up the human attackers to focus on creative problem solving and address more complex issues. Pattern recognition and machine learning. AI models learn from these historical attack patterns to predict and detect similar attacks in the future. For example, Darktrace uses AI to monitor network traffic for deviations from normal patterns. Predictive analysis. Instead of reacting to threats after they occur, AI tools can predict potential vulnerabilities by analyzing trends in historical data. Predictive analysis helps prioritize remediation efforts for the most critical risks. So how does AI compare to traditional ethical hacking? Traditional ethical hacking relies heavily on manual effort, human intuition, and predefined checklists. It can be very time intensive and error prone, especially for large scale systems. With AI-powered ethical hacking, we use algorithms and machine learning to help improve our accuracy and reduce our human error. We can analyze complex systems faster and adapt dynamically to new threats, something that traditional methods struggle with. It's a game changer because the traditional tools might flag hundreds of potential issues, many of which turn out to be false positives or noise. AI reduces this noise and it prioritizes the most critical vulnerabilities first. It doesn't get tired like humans do, and it doesn't make mistakes due to fatigue, making it ideal for continuous monitoring and protection. So in closing on this slide, AI isn't here to replace ethical hackers. It's here to enhance our capabilities. It helps us automate repetitive tasks, identify the patterns, and it predicts vulnerabilities. It empowers us to be more efficient and effective. So together, we can form a powerful partnership that can outpace even the most sophisticated cyber threats. So the key areas where AI is transforming ethical hacking. we take a look at automated vulnerability scanning. AI automates this process of identifying security vulnerabilities across systems, applications, and networks. Traditional vulnerability scanning can be slow and error-prone, so the AI tools speed up the process, ensuring accuracy and reducing the false positives. So some examples of tools is OpenBOSS and Nessus. They scan networks and systems for known vulnerabilities. We use AI plugins in tools like Burp Suite, and it helps us identify the anomalies in web applications faster than manual methods. So the practical impact of this is, imagine scanning an enterprise network with thousands of devices. We can prioritize vulnerabilities by risk level, and we can enable faster remediation. With threat intelligence and predictive analysis, AI can analyze vast amounts of data to predict future attack vectors and improve response strategies. The volume of threat intelligence is too large for humans to process manually, and the AI can help identify these patterns and trends that would otherwise go undetected. So an example of some tools that are used is MISP, or Malware Information Sharing Platform. We gather and share threat intelligence through MISP. AI models and tools like IBM's QRadar predict and alert on likely threats based on the historical data that it's seen from MISP. The practical impact of this is that predictive analytics helps the organization stay one step ahead of the attackers by prioritizing defenses against emerging threats. Behavioral analysis and penetration testing. AI detects anomalies in systems behavior that may indicate malicious activity. Instead of relying solely on signature-based detection, AI analyzes patterns of normal activity and flags these behaviors. Some tools that we see in ethical hacking are Darktrace. It monitors network behavior and identifies unusual activities in real time. We see Splunk used with machine learning toolkit, and it helps detect suspicious patterns in logs and events. The practical impact of this is that if an employee account suddenly downloads large volumes of data at 3 a.m., AI can detect and alert on this behavior. It also allows us to perform adaptive security measures. So it allows the systems to adjust their defenses dynamically in response to any detected threats. Static defenses can often be ineffective against an adaptive attacker. AI allows for real-time adjustments and improves the resilience. So some tools that we've seen in use are Waza. It responds dynamically to the incidents, such as blocking IPs or quarantining the endpoints. CrowdStrike Falcon uses AI to adjust endpoint security based on the threat level it perceives. So if an AI system detects a brute force attack, it can automatically block the offending IP address or increase authentication requirements temporarily. So each of these areas represents a critical step forward in ethical hacking. It allows us to automate vulnerability scanning and enhance our threat intelligence. It allows us to leverage behavioral analysis and allows us to enable adaptive security. So it empowers security teams to work faster and more efficiently. And these advancements not only improve efficiency, but also allow human experts to focus on the more complex, high-value tasks. So this is an example of some real-world success stories that I've seen over the last couple of years. So at a financial institution that I had as a client, they were able to utilize Burp Suite enhanced with AI plugins for their web application security testing. They also utilized Nessus to do automated scanning, and it helped reduce their testing time by 40%, and it uncovered critical zero-day vulnerabilities. Another example is an enterprise security group that I work with. A brute force attack was identified early using the ELK stack with the machine learning methods. The Elasticsearch processed the login logs with Kibana with the visualized anomalies, enabled the proactive action to be performed. So these are just a couple of examples of how AI's effectiveness is strengthening cybersecurity defenses. So with all this greatness also comes some challenges. It brings great advancement to our hacking trade, but we need to recognize and address the challenges. So the first challenge is false positives. AI tools sometimes flag non-critical issues as high priority threats, and that can overwhelm the security teams with unnecessary alerts. An example of this is a behavior-based anomaly detection tool might misrepresent a legitimate but unusual activity, like a spike in data transfers during a scheduled backup. So how do we get around that? We have to fine-tune the AI models with historical data to improve the accuracy, and we have to implement thresholds to reduce our alert noise. Bias in algorithms. So AI models are only as good as the data they're trained on. And if the training data lacks diversity, AI might overlook certain attack vectors or produce skewed results. So an AI tool trained predominantly on malware targeting Windows systems may fail to detect threats targeting Linux or Mac OS environments. So what we do to get around that is we use diverse and representative data sets during our training, and we regularly test and update our models to account for these evolving threats. Another challenge is over-reliance on automation. So automation creates a false sense of security where an organization might neglect human expertise and oversight. So if you rely entirely on automated vulnerability scans without manual validation, you might see missed context-specific vulnerabilities. So to get around this, you should combine the AI-driven tools with your human expertise for critical decision-making. So you ensure that the ethical hackers verify the findings and address the complex scenarios that AI just can't handle right now. Another issue is adversarial AI attacks. So cyber criminals are now weaponizing AI to evade detection and exploit vulnerabilities in security systems. So techniques like data poisoning, which involve injecting false data into an AI's model training set, it leads to flawed predictions or detections. So to get around this, you should regularly test your AI models for resilience against these adversarial inputs and use robust validation processes and secure training environments. There's also the ethical and privacy concerns. So AI tools can often require access to sensitive code and data for training and analysis. It raises concerns about data privacy and compliance. So let's say that you have logs and traffic data that contain PII or personally identifiable information. You need to ensure that the AI tools comply with regulations like GDPR or HIPAA, and you could use anonymized or encrypted data whenever possible to get around this. Resource intensity. So deploying and maintaining AI systems can be resource intensive, and it requires a substantial amount of computational power. You also have to have very skilled professionals, and you have to do the ongoing updates. So a way to get around this is to use cloud-based AI tools to offload the resource requirements and invest in training for your teams to effectively manage and optimize AI deployments. So AI is not the magic solution. It's just a tool in our tool bag that requires careful management to be effective. The key to overcoming these challenges is balancing automation with human expertise and continually improving the AI models. This will ensure that the ethical practices are followed, and addressing these hurdles head on, organizations can fully harness AI's potential in ethical hacking. So the future of AI and security, it has immense potential, and it will cause some significant changes on how we approach ethical hacking and cyber defense. So one of the things that we will see in the future is autonomous red and blue teaming tools. So AI is expected to play a more active role in automating penetration testing or red teaming and defense simulations or blue teaming. Autonomous tools will mimic human attackers. It'll probe the systems for vulnerabilities, while defenders tools will dynamically adapt to these attacks in real time. We're already seeing those in tools like Attack IQ and Monitor Attacks Caldera. They're already able to provide early examples of how autonomous AI-driven simulations are working. Enhanced predictive analytics. So AI will move from reactive threat detection to predicting future threats based on trends and historical data. Machine learning methods can analyze patterns of past attacks and identify the next attack vector. And predictive systems will reduce the dwell time, or the time an attacker remains undetected in a system, which will help the organizations preemptively address vulnerabilities. AI augmented threat hunting. So traditional threat hunting is often manual and very time intensive. In the future, AI tools will handle this repetitive task of log analysis and anomaly detection and allow the human experts to focus on interpreting these results and strategizing responses. For example, integrating AI-powered tools like Splunk Machine Learning Toolkit can streamline threat hunting while providing actionable insights to practitioners. Integration of IoT security. As the IoT landscape and devices continue to proliferate, AI will become a cornerstone of securing these endpoints. AI's ability to process large volumes of data in real time will help identify unusual behaviors across millions of interconnected devices. So we need to balance AI with human expertise. Despite the promise of automation, human oversight will remain critical. AI tools excel at analyzing data and spotting patterns, but they lack context, intuition, and the ability to adapt to novel scenarios in ways that humans can't. So organizations must adapt a hybrid concept, pairing the AI tools with skilled cybersecurity professionals to achieve the best results. The emergence of AI versus AI battles. As defenders adopt AI, attackers will also weaponize AI to create smarter malware, automated phishing, and adaptive attack strategies. This will lead to an arms race, where organizations must ensure their AI tools remain ahead of the adversary's capabilities. So AI is not the silver bullet. It is a powerful tool that needs to be wielded carefully and ethically. The focus of the future should be on building resilient systems, investing in ongoing AI training for cybersecurity teams, and fostering collaboration between humans and machines. So here are some actionable takeaways. So we've discussed how AI is transforming ethical hacking and the challenges that come with it. Let's focus on practical steps you can take to start integrating AI into your cybersecurity efforts. So number one, start with AI-enhanced vulnerability scanners. You can implement tools like OpenVAS or Nessus to automate your vulnerability scanning and identify weaknesses across your systems. AI-enabled scanners reduce the time spent manually assessing and prioritizing vulnerabilities based upon severity. So an example of this would be a Nessus integration plugin that analyzes vulnerabilities in real time, and it provides actionable insights for remediation. What we would suggest is that you run a proof of concept on these tools in a non-production environment to see how they fit into your workflows. Train your teams on AI-driven tools. Invest in training your security teams to efficiently use AI-powered platforms like ElkStack, Darktrace, or Splunk Machine Learning Toolkit. Many organizations underutilize AI tools because their teams are not familiar with the advanced features. A well-trained team can help maximize the value of the investment made in these tools. So an example would be to use ElkStack machine learning features to detect anomalies in network traffic and teach your team to interpret these results. So set up a training plan that includes vendor-provided courses and hands-on exercises with AI tools. Don't overlook open source tools with AI potential. So leverage open source solutions like OpenVAS for vulnerability management, MISP for threat intelligence sharing and enrichment, Yeti for automated threat classification. Open source tools provide cost-effective options for integrating AI capabilities into your security operations. So you can integrate MISP with an AI model to cluster IOCs and predict potential attack vectors. So just start with a single open source tool and then gradually expand outwards. And I know it seems like I'm harping on this, but you need to balance automation with manual oversight. Use the AI tools to automate the repetitive tasks, but ensure that the humans validate the results and address these complex scenarios. While AI is powerful, it is not infallible. Combining humans with AI creates a more robust security strategy. Use the AI to triage alerts and let security analysts focus on the most critical threats. So what you need to do is define clear roles for AI and clear roles for human analysts in the security workflows. Focus on ethical and transparent AI usage. Ensure that you're complying with data privacy regulations like GDPR or HIPAA when deploying your AI systems. Transparency and ethical usage build trust in AI-driven decisions while avoiding potential legal pitfalls. So make sure that you anonymize the sensitive data before feeding it into AI models for training or analysis, and conduct a data audit regularly to ensure that you're compliant before deploying AI systems. Develop a long-term AI strategy. So build out a roadmap for integrating AI into your security operations over time. The phased approach ensures a smooth adoption and allows your organization to adapt to AI's learning curves. Start with AI-driven vulnerability scanning, then expand to AI-augmented threat hunting, and then predictive analysis. You need to define your milestones for your AI adoption journey and then review your progress regularly. So these steps are designed to help guide you gradually into AI adoption, into your ethical hacking and cybersecurity workflows. If you start small, train your teams, and balance the automation with human expertise, you can unlock the full potential of AI, minimizing the risks. Remember, AI is a tool to empower your teams, not to replace them. So in conclusion, AI enhances the speed, accuracy, and predictive capabilities in ethical hacking. However, it is essential to balance AI with human expertise for effective cybersecurity. Thank you for attending. Now, back to the host.
Thank you very much, Don, for delivering such an insightful and informative session. We found the webinar very engaging and hope it was valuable for you as well. So before we begin with the Q&A, I would like to announce all the attendees that this session is in sync with EC Council's Certified Ethical Hacker CEH program. EC Council Certified Ethical Hacker certification is mapped to a variety of roles in the cybersecurity industry, including ethical hacker, security analyst, security consultant, site administrator, and network management executive. LinkedIn 2022 lists over 1,000 jobs seeking ethical hacking skills worldwide, and individuals holding the CEH certification can earn an average annual salary of USD 96,000 in the United States, as per PayScale 2022. If you're interested in learning more, please participate in the poll being conducted now. Let us know your preferred mode of training and we will reach out to you soon. Meanwhile, Don, should we proceed with the question and answer?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So our first question is, how will AI tools reduce false positivity in finding vulnerability of any system?
So as I noted in the presentation, you need to make sure that you have a diverse set of data that you use to train your AI models. That's going to help you with learning the historical trends and patterns that will help reduce the false positives.
Thank you for answering that, Don. Our next question for you is, what do you recommend to companies to prepare their cybersecurity staff?
So I recommend that you start taking training. Like I mentioned in the presentation, you can use vendor supplied training, or you can have third-party training as well. But you should not overlook this opportunity to try to get ahead or at least equal with the threat actors that we deal with on a daily basis.
Thank you for answering that, Don. Our third question for you is, what are the current threat prediction tools available to predict based on current observed TTPs?
So there are a bunch of different tools that are available, and just as a matter of record, I do not recommend tool sets to anyone. I did mention a lot of tools within the context of this presentation, but those were used as examples. Um, my recommendation would be to do your own intelligence and determine what tool set works best for you within the context of the workflows that you're responsible for.
Thank you for answering that. How to develop long-term strategies?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, how to develop long-term strategies?
So you really need to start small. Like I said, start with a very small footprint and then start to build out your roadmap sequentially. You need to think about this as taking small bites. So go with your first tool, do an analysis and run through testing on the first tool, and then start to move out as you know move through the process. This will help make sure that you've got enough knowledge and insight to be able to develop your strategy. And then once you have some of those tool sets in place, you can start to develop a 6-month, 1-year, 3-year, 5-year roadmap. Now, just know that as quickly as everything is evolving, you may have to go back and do a continual analysis of all the tools that you have in use. And that's probably a best practice anyway. But I would not think of a strategy for utilizing AI as something that is a static strategy as you typically see within certain business structures, right? It definitely needs to be a recursive, event-driven strategy.
Thank you, Don. Our next question for you is, Black hat hackers also use AI tools for attack. How to prevent or mitigate from these type of attack?
So, like I mentioned, the red team, blue team automation and testing, and we also see within a lot of the cases that we come across, the dwell time that the threat actors have has collapsed exponentially. So we used to see people that would be having dwell times that could be as long as 3 months, and now we're down to dwell times as short as a couple of days. In fact, I was on a case a couple of months ago. It was like 7 hours. So they are utilizing these tools. We did initially we thought it was they were getting better optimization off their code, and so they could go and expand their footprint quicker. But what we've discovered is that it is, in fact, the threat actors utilizing the AI. So immediately you could start to look at AI-driven EDR and XDR platforms. There are a bunch of them that are out there, SentinelOne, CrowdStrike, Sophos, that can allow you to build out those workflows, and it can do those types of analytics now based upon the data sets and machine learning tools that they have built into their data lakes. So I would start by making sure that you have an effective layered strategy around your defenses. You need to think of it as concentric rings where your crown jewels have the most amount of rings around them. And so you want to layer EDR. We see a lot of people that use EDR with antivirus, with other detection devices, honeypots, you name it. But it needs to be a very layered approach. Do not rely upon just a single point of failure.
Thank you for answering that, Don. Our next question is, what algorithm you suggest for predicting threats like Markov chain algorithm and etc.?
What do I didn't catch the first part. I'm sorry.
What algorithm you suggest for predicting threats?
It's impossible to to predict all threats. Like I said, I think that you could utilize some of the tools that I recommended or that I mentioned within the presentation to help you with getting ahead of the analysis and the interpretation of those attack vectors.
Thank you for answering that. Our next question is, how would one can design a system with AI and ML systems integrated, and what training sessions would be required?
So like I mentioned in the presentation, I would make sure that number one, you start with training of your resources on your current tool set, then integrate slow integration of an AI platform that helps optimize a specific portion of your workflow, and then just have that repetitive recursive training that goes into that. Take everything that you have as a learning output from your evaluation of the different tools, and then reincorporate that into your training plan that you have for your end users.
Thank you, Don. Our next question for you is, can you share any guidance on AI policy development?
That's a great question. There is really not a lot of guidance around that. I know that NIST has started to develop policies around ethical usage of AI. And I think as time goes on, you're going to see a lot of laws that come into effect. There's a lot of misperceptions around what AI can and cannot do. And I also think that there's a lot of lack of knowledge around AI. When people traditionally think of AI, they're thinking about the chat GPTs of the world. And there are a lot more different AI platforms than just chat GPT. You could build out your own AI platform. And in most of those instances that I mentioned throughout the presentation, you do have your own data sets, and you are building your own large language models for your own use, so that you can have better control of the data and the way that you do the ossification of the personally identifiable information and other critical and sensitive data.
Thank you for answering that. Our next question to you is, business email compromise is biggest issue in amount businesses. What tool are there which can help rescue or mitigate BEC issue?
So email continues to be the number one threat vector. Probably about 85 to 90% of all attacks that we see do originate from email, either phishing or spear phishing attacks. And again, you have to have a multi-layered approach on the way that you go after this threat. Number one, you need to make sure that you've got good mail filtering capabilities in place. There are a bunch of different vendors out there that you can use, depending on the platform that you have for your email. But most importantly, you need to make sure that you train your end users. You need to train them regularly. It is such a critical thing right now, because the threat actors are getting really, really good at being able to use social engineering cues to make emails appear legitimate. In spear phishing campaigns, they'll even go as far as doing follow-up calls or follow-up emails. So at the end of the day, the buck really starts or stops at the keyboard. So the training of the end users is absolutely the most important thing. Test them monthly, make it hard, measure the results of the testing, and do follow-up training to adjust whenever you see that there's a course correction that needs to be made in their learning.
Thank you, Don. Our next question to you is, how can we integrate blockchain and AI to build cybersecurity defense?
So it really depends on the the approach that you want to take. So the blockchain is only there to validate the integrity of the data that's being presented. That's really the purpose of the blockchain. So, for example, blockchain is presently used pretty frequently in helping with very large encryption problems. You could also leverage it that way for your data analysis. I'm not aware of any specific tool right now that would identify it, but I think that there's definitely a use case for being able to utilize the blockchain to be able to do that type of analytics. I don't know how cost effective it would be because there are obviously costs that are involved with utilizing blockchain technology. So yeah, I would definitely take a look at it, but I'm not aware of any that do it today.
Thank you, Don. We are receiving a lot of questions, and our next question is how to know when the attacker attached a virus file in any document. Can we mitigate this type of attack? How to educate employees on these?
So fileless attacks are definitely on the rise. We know through stego analysis that they increase to get more, or it's increasing in complexity, and it's increasing in our ability to be able to interpret it quickly. Again, it comes down to making sure that you have a layered approach to your endpoint security. And, finally, it always comes down to the humans. If they see something that looks fishy that comes in, that's a document, then they need to not open that document, or they need to flag it as something that is suspicious so that one of the security professionals can do further analysis on that file. But again, it boils down to having a layered approach to that. It's getting more and more difficult. They get better and better every day.
Thank you, Don. Our next question for you is could you please tell us about AI tools for malware detection in IoT devices?
So there are several of the large vendors that do have malware detection. The challenge that we face right now is that we, during COVID, went through a period of heightened usage of BYOD devices. So there are some ethical and some legal challenges depending on where you are located on how you can combat that problem. Because obviously you don't want to put a MDM tool or an antivirus anti-malware tool on an end user's phone, because you could be liable and the risk could be too great or outweigh the risk that you're trying to offset with putting that tool in place. So that's a really delicate, more of a legal challenge than it is technology challenge. But there are all the major vendors, XDR vendors do have those tools for mobile.
Thank you, Don. Our next question is currently we use tools to do vulnerability detection and propose mitigation based on severity. Is there anything to further improve using AI?
So you could improve that whole model utilizing AI by taking all of that historical log data and using it to help train the AI. So again, you can help optimize your workflows on those identification of malicious activities based upon the learnings that you continually provide to your AI model. But the historical data is extremely important.
Thanks, Don. Our next question is what are the strategies to secure healthcare system and cloud environment?
Well, those are two big surface areas right there. So with the help desk systems, obviously you want to use the principle of least privilege for your help desk environment. Only provide them with the level of access that they need to be able to perform their jobs daily. Also, again, I will go back to training. Make sure that you perform regular training and testing to test them. They will be under a large barrage of social engineering attacks right now, and we see that a lot. And even some of the more high-profile cases that you've read about in the news have been the result of social engineering attacks on help desk or support resources. So training, make sure you use the principle of least privilege. And also you can do some analytics based upon behavioral analysis using behavioral analysis tools to see and identify behaviors that those help desk and support people might be doing that are unusual for what they typically are performing. For cloud-based systems, wow, it's kind of the Wild West right now, because depending on the platform that you have, the tool sets are more robust in certain cloud environments than other cloud environments. And I'm speaking, specifically for public cloud environments that you typically would see your Amazon's, GCPs. For private clouds, it's a little bit easier because you control all of that. You're ultimately responsible, not the provider of the cloud-based service, for the security. So there's a lot of misinformation about who's responsible for what. But at the end of the day, the cloud provider only provides the hardware or the application or services, but ultimately it's up to the consumer of those services to secure it. Again, I would take a look at a layered approach to security within cloud environments, and training is number one on the list, right? If you have, and that goes for not only the staff, but also the end user. So the staff need to be trained on what they can and cannot do. You also need to use the principle of least privilege and role-based access controls for the individuals that will be doing administrative tasks and other activities within your cloud environments. That's what I would recommend.
Thank you, Don. Our last question for today is, what if the adversary manipulates an organization's AI system or AI tool used for pen testing?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Yes. What if the adversary manipulates an organization's AI system or AI tool used for pen testing?
So there are a bunch of different tools that are out there that you can use. I mentioned a couple of them: the Burp Suite, the Nessus with the AI plugins. And again, you need to make sure that you're continually monitoring what's going on with those data sets so that you can ensure that the data poisoning isn't happening through a threat actor going and attacking your AI models. So that's why you can't just set and forget an AI system. You need to have that human that's sitting at the console that's interpreting the results and continuously monitoring what's going on to make sure that the AI is performing as expected and that you don't see any real, heavily skewed results one way or the other.
Thank you, Don, for answering those questions and for the great presentation and the knowledge you shared with our global audience. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and we are looking for more and more sessions with you. So before we conclude the webinar, Don, would you like to give a small message to our audience?
Yeah, I would leave everyone with AI is here, and I know a lot of companies are scared of AI because there's a lot of misinformation out there. It is here. It's not going anywhere. Start small, test some tools that you can use for your needs that's going to help with the optimization of your workflows. And just keep in the back of your mind, if you need any kind of help convincing anyone within your organization that you need to utilize AI, just let them know that the bad guys are already using AI and they're going to continually get better. So we have to match them, or else we'll be defeated. And no one wants to have that happen.
Thank you so much, Don.